What's going on, Nerd Nation? Welcome back to Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode number 20. That's right, we are now officially 5 months old. Best newborn baby you've ever had. And we don't shit on ourselves most of the time. Anyway, this week, I'm Fox2. I'm here with DePirate.
Hey, guys.
Topher.
Welcome back.
The whole effing Brian.
I had something good to say, but I'm going to say hi instead.
And this week we got special guest, Mark Rose.
Here I am, bitches.
All right, so let's jump right in and talk about what we've been reading. Brian, let's start with you.
The only thing I read this week was Batman Eternal. I think everybody else read that too.
I did.
Most of
I
us.
got it. I have not read it yet.
I think it was actually just me
I
and
haven't
you.
had a chance to read it yet.
I mean, you know, it was done by Scott Snyder, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to read it a second and a third time. I wasn't really compelled by the story, especially them using Professor Pig as the villain to open up a new series with. I don't really like Professor Pig.
I liked the story. I really mild spoilers, if you will. I like the direction of where they're taking Jim Gordon, like right out of the gate. So it's kind of, you know, there's something there in the first issue that makes you kind of want to know where it goes next. You know, and I thought it was a pretty good, not overly obvious like cliffhanger as far as like what's next, dun dun dun, or anything stupid like that. But it was, I thought it was good. I'm definitely going to continue to keep it in my pull list and read it for. I'm going to give it at least another month probably just to see the direction of the story.
I'm gonna give it like 4 still, but I don't know. It just didn't capture me like another, like his 0 year. Scott Snyder's 0 year is probably one of the greatest Batman stories of the New 52 so far. I like how you see him coming together, but I just wasn't compelled to be excited for the next issue.
Well, did you read the issue 29, when they took the break in 0 year to, or was it 28? 28 or 29 when they had the prequel of the Batman Eternal? Or not the prequel, but the little teaser of Batman Eternal?
Yeah, I think that was last issue, wasn't it? 29?
I think it was. It was 29 or 20, I can't remember, but yeah. I mean, I like that one. That one I thought was pretty good.
That was good.
I didn't read it.
Had Bluebird in it, or
oh, that wasn't the Batman Eternal. That was
It was the break in 0 year it was the setup for Batman Eternal.
That was Gothopia, with Bluebird. Catwoman was like Catbird. She had like the Robin outfit on. Is that what you're talking about?
No. This one was they took the one issue break in 0 year to kind of give a taste of what Batman Eternal is going to be like. It was issue 29 or 28. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the chick as like she had the Nightwing mask and she had the big like cannon.
She had the electro gun that shocked everybody. Yeah.
Okay, I know.
That's the setup for, or the little teaser of what.
That was good, but you know it's not there yet. Still.
No.
I think it's just going to take some time to get there. Is what I'm thinking. Chris, what about you?
I haven't read it yet. What's the timeline on it? Like exactly? Does it take place? Because I know it's supposed to be like a year. Is it after 0 year, before the main story? Is it during the main story? Is it?
I heard it was post Forever Evil, is what I heard James Tynion IV talking about in an interview. Was that it's supposed to be a year of post Forever Evil?
Yeah, I mean,
Gotham City.
I've heard that by the time it's done, the main series is going to pick up kind of where it left off, like, and that was like the year that happened while he was gone or something, like. But I don't. It wasn't clear exactly, you know, like how it fits in with the main book.
Right.
Yeah, well, Forever Evil was supposed to be done by now. It was supposed to be over. We should have got the last issue
Last week? No, 2 weeks
This-
ago.
Last month
this
in
yeah,
March.
like a few weeks ago. But since they pushed it back all the way to May, a lot of these books are now like post Forever Evil. If you pick up Superman Wonder Woman, that new storyline they're
issue
doing,
7.
Doomed, that takes place. They talk about it in like the first page that they haven't seen each other in forever, and all you see the background of whatever city they're in is all like smoking and stuff like that. I mean, there's
That's
it's
the one
kind of
that,
like
that has Doomsday coming. The appearance of Doomsday now too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, should be interesting. So, Topher, what have you been reading?
Well, just to go back on that last one, my biggest question I think is why do you always put spoilers in air quotes? Like,
I don't know. Why not?
I don't know. I was just curious. What have I been reading this week? I have been reading some older stuff. One of these days I will finally get to my giant pile of new comics, and so I can participate in these discussions on Batman Eternal and whatnot. But
You're
no,
our vintage expert at this point.
what's that?
You're our go-to for vintage
I know, right?
Marvel.
It's coming back around. But no, I went back and I've been reading. I've been trying to get into the new Guardians of the Galaxy series, before the movie that's coming out this August. And so a buddy of mine told me that if I wanted to start on that whole thing, that I should go back to it was like the 2006 event called Annihilation, where like some force from the negative zone comes in and shakes up the entire cosmic world and kind of sets the stage for everything that's that's come recently. Kind of sets the status quo for where the Guardians of the Galaxy, how they came together, and and the Nova Corps and all that stuff. So I've been reading that. It's actually been pretty interesting so far. So.
Oh yeah.
what's the first? That's Annihilation. What is it? Conquest?
Yeah, Annihilation Conquest was like the well, there was a prelude to Annihilation, then there was like there were 4 different Annihilation miniseries for Nova, Super Skrull, Ronan the Accuser, and Silver Surfer, and then Silver Surfer joins back up with Galactus, which is kind of interesting, and then it goes into the main Annihilation story, and then there's Annihilation Conquest, which follows that, that kind of shows like how the Guardians of the Galaxy came together, and then they had a series prior to the current one that started like right after that and ran for a while.
That's where they're all wearing the those blue, like almost whatchamacallit. Their suits all look identical.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the end, so I don't know. I haven't seen like the team form up yet. But
Way to fuck it up, Brian. Way to fuck it up.
I mean, yeah.
No, that's not. That's
You know what happens.
that's
I mean,
costumes.
Bastard.
Get out of here.
Asshole. God, I quit. I'm out. I'm done.
All right, moving on. Pirate. Have you read anything this
what
week?
have I read this week? Nothing. What did I get? I got the Deadpool's Wedding.
Oh, you got to let us know how that is.
That was alright.
I got Deadpool or Carnage versus Deadpool, or Deadpool versus Carnage. I was actually really excited to read that one, and I didn't even get to. Batman Eternal. Shit. Wonder Woman, Superman, Woman 7, but I have not read a single one of them yet. So
All right. Marky Mark.
once I get to it, I'll let you know. I mean,
Marky
What's
Mark,
that?
you read anything?
Yeah, I read the back of a shampoo label when I was pooping. It was fascinating. I didn't really know where they were going to go with the story, but come to find out, you just rinse and repeat.
Oh, man, do you have any idea where they're going to come with the sequel?
I'm going to go with rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat for the
Because,
sequel.
the word repeat just seemed to really stick out to me there.
How did you know when to stop? Like, after you repeat, you start back over at lather and rinse, right? And then you go back on to repeat again.
I don't know. It's kind of a cliffhanger. I didn't know where they were going to go with this. I'm waiting to buy the one with conditioner so I can figure out where to go with this. I'm really excited.
Is that like extended director's edition?
Is that like a tie-in one-shot kind of thing? Or
the funny part is like the guy talking about reading the back of a shampoo bottle doesn't have
no damn hair.
I didn't.
You didn't say what hair he was shampooing.
Mom, go buy some more shampoo.
Exactly. I use it for my beard and my chest hair. It's all starting to meld into one.
Oh god. Okay. All right. Let's move on to and I'm going to do your favorite thing here, Topher. Air quotes. Spoilers section. This is going to be a big one because we are going to talk about Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to get spoilers, fuck you. Listen anyway. So
gently with Vaseline.
Yeah, with Vaseline. So we're going to talk about Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. Thoughts on it. Let's go with Topher first. He's obviously dressed out in his Captain America onesie for this special occasion. So go ahead.
It's not a onesie. Sadly, I don't have any Captain America leggings. If you know where I can get some, by all means, leave it in the comments. Because some footy pajamas and my size would be pretty awesome.
All right, hang on one second. Before you get into it, I just have to note here for our video viewers, Brian sounded like he was wrestling an alligator for a second ago, but apparently he was putting on his Captain America face condom.
He was fighting the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So, all right, just keep
I don't want to give my identity away.
Yeah,
I've been out of the game for a little bit.
Just keep that damn microphone away from your nose so we don't have to listen to you breathe.
Oh my God, who is that?
Topher's got his face condom on as well, looks like.
Can we get another person with A on their face? And
Marky Mark has got his on over here as well, looks like. Okay, so now that we're all Captain America the fuck out, Topher, your thoughts on the movie?
I saw it again last night because I thought it was so good, and it was still really awesome the second time. I honestly feel like in terms of superhero movies, Dark Knight is still kind of my favorite because I'm just such a huge Batman Joker fan. That was such a great movie. But as far as the Marvel ones, I don't know that it has the fun factor of the Avengers, getting to see all the team get together and interact with each other. But in terms of movie quality, I feel like Captain America: The Winter Soldier was probably the best quality film that Marvel Studios has done yet. Just from beginning to end, it was extremely well written. It was well acted. The scenery was great. The plot was well developed. They had an overall theme of trust to the movie, and everything they did tied into that. And I thought it told a great story, and really let us know who Captain America is.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, even the him coming to terms with being in... This was your first movie of seeing Captain America really interact with the new world he woke up in. I mean, it's not the 1940s anymore. It's the 2000s. Everything's different. I mean, you even saw it in his little notepad where he had all the stuff to look up jotted down, all the pop culture references. So, I mean, the story was good going from... My phone alarm rang.
Nice.
It was a good transition going from story to action, back to story, back to action. Everything kept up and flowed well together.
Okay. I'm gonna chime in here before we get to Pirate and
Wait,
Mark.
one more thing.
Oh, go for it.
You get to see a lot of Scarlett Johansson in leather outfit.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a perfect segue. That's a perfect segue into my opinion of the movie, which was that it's good. I like it, but I had some problems with it for sure. And one of the biggest problems that I personally had with it was Scarlett Johansson's performance. And I don't know if this is just the way it was that she was directed or how she'd interpreted the script and decided to act, but there was like an extended period of time where she was just over the top, like extra flirtatious with Captain America, and it just didn't. It could have been done without, really, to be honest.
Well, it's
in
Captain
my opinion.
America. What woman doesn't want to be? What woman and possibly some men don't want to be with Captain America?
I mean, I get.
Somebody sounds jealous.
No,
Some men.
definitely not jealous. But I just didn't. I don't think it added anything to the movie. And instead of adding something to the movie, it basically took away from the story of what was going on with Shield and the main plot. So it really didn't have. It didn't really have a point. My second problem that I had with the movie, and none of this is to say that it was a bad movie, because I'll the movie's good for sure. I'll definitely buy it when it comes out on Blu-ray and add it to my collection. I'll watch it probably plenty of times. But the second thing I didn't like was the casting of George St. Pierre as a villain in the movie. If they had cast I get that they wanted someone in the martial arts community for the, authenticity, if you will, of the fight scene, some of the athleticism. But when you cast someone with his notoriety, that's a B-list movie thing to do. That's something that a movie that can't stand on its own 2 feet goes out and says, you know what, let's go get George St. Pierre to be the main villain in this movie, or a villain in this movie, so that we can rely on his fame to promote this movie. This movie didn't need that. It didn't. It was just it was an unnecessary move that they could have gotten some entry-level professional fighter or some black belt in Taekwondo that nobody had ever heard of to do literally the exact same thing that he did. And it wouldn't have been George St. Pierre.
Cast him for Georges Batroc. You know what I mean? Like, George St. Pierre plays Georges Batroc. That's kind of like...
You don't think that there's any other French martial artists in the world?
No, but I mean, I think it's just funny because it's a facial attachment to it, and also he's already recognized.
That's what I'm saying. He's so recognized.
I could have done better because most of his scene was a stuntman anyways. You know what I mean? Because if it would have been George St. Pierre fighting somebody, he would have just laid on top of him. We know this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just saying. I don't think. I just having his face attached to it was more distracting than it was helpful to the movie, in my opinion.
My reply to that is, who?
Yeah, who did he play?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I don't watch UFC.
For those,
the first major fight scene in the movie. The first attention grabbing fight scene in the movie.
Sarcasm.
I know.
I know who you're talking about. My point is, like, for those who don't know, Vox has done UFC fighting. Like, he does MMA stuff. Like, but to any who aren't in that world, like, that name means no. I honestly did not know. I watched that movie, and had you not told me that, I never would have known who the hell he was.
My point is, though, that right now, MMA, the UFC, to the layman, is the world's fastest growing sport. So there are going to be more people that do recognize. I mean, that's fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't care. Like, that's totally cool. But there's going to be a lot of people that recognize
you're overestimating its importance.
I mean, that's, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just think it was a distracting decision.
I agree. I agree with Fox on
to break out and be an actor. Like, how many actors have there been that have done other stuff before? I mean, look at you said you loved Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you? Okay. Do you know who's playing Drax the Destroyer?
No.
Batista from the WWE. Okay. Why is that awesome? But a real actual fighter, he's not allowed to do martial arts in an action movie.
My point isn't that it's a bad movie or that anything like that. I'm just saying that I personally don't like that choice because of the fame that's attached to him. He wasn't like, you could look at him in the movie and tell that it was him. and he is a poster child and has been a poster child for the UFC, which is one of the largest growing brands of sports in the world for the last 5 years.
Can you look at Nick Fury and tell it's Samuel L. Jackson? Can you look at Captain America and tell it it's Chris Evans? Of course you can tell it. He wasn't wearing a costume. Like, he's probably the least famous person in that fucking movie. Like, I don't understand why is that so distracting to you?
Okay. Anyway, next point, because I'm not going to continue to argue with. Yeah. Never mind. Go ahead, Pirate. What were your thoughts on the movie?
I like the movie. There was some things, and I'm going to agree with Fox on this, just for the sake of when I seen it first before the movie came out, I seen a clip on it on like MMA Junkie or something like that from a Japanese release of the scene. That George St. Pierre, I was like, holy shit! I was like, how? At first, I was like, how much of a role does he have in this film? And if he would have had a bigger role, I would have had a more problem with it, because I've seen stuff that he's been in, and he can't act.
Terrible. So
I would hope to God that Marvel did not put him as an actor. What he did though was just he was Georges Batroc, like a mercenary. It made sense. He was a small part. I had no problem with it after I seen the movie and seen the scene. But overall, I love the movie. I thought it was great. I thought the whole issue with S.H.I.E.L.D. being infiltrated by Hydra was amazing. I love the fact that the Falcon was in it, because the Falcon was a huge part throughout the late 60s, or no, not late 60s, I'm sorry, early 70s, early to mid 70s with the Captain America comics.
Even like the
him.
early 2000s.
Yeah, there's a more recent series around the time Avengers Disassembled and
my collection of Captain America starts at 100. You know what I mean? I'm talking, I don't think I own a Captain America. I have some in the Marvel now, but most of my Captain Americas are like from it starts at 101. I don't have 100 yet, to probably like 250. So, but those are the ones that with the Falcon being introduced and all that. But I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought the whole I got 102, and I got 10. Hey, I got
102.
Yeah, I got those. You ain't got nothing on me. Anyways, but I thought that it was a really great the whole confliction between. But my question is, and I think it was me and Fox talking about this earlier, is like, I understand what's going on in the Marvel universe. Tony Stark is down. He doesn't have any suits. He's got rid of his his powers pretty much per se at the end of Iron Man 3. The Hulk, who knows what's going on with him? Bruce Banner's probably off, staring down a microscope.
Masturbating.
Hawkeye, where was Hawkeye? They could have really incorporated a lot more of Hawkeye, I thought, in that one. But nothing's going to him. Thor's, he's off in Asgard. I think they could have incorporated a little more. I know why they didn't, because it's a Captain America film. But they could have at least threw a mention more other than having Bruce Banner come up on some watch list.
They actually did though, and if you listen, like they mentioned Banner a couple times. They mentioned that he developed the serum that Nick Fury used to fake his death. Pierce mentioned to Nick Fury, he said, okay, I can push this through with the World Security Council, but Iron Man has to do my daughter's birthday party. And even says, and not just a flyby, he actually has to mingle. So, I mean, like, they kind of were dropping hints there that Tony actually does have a suit still somewhere, and that he can, that he is around. And I read something that said that one of the stated goals was they kind of accelerated the timeline here. I don't want to say accelerated, but the movie takes place in a fairly short time frame, and they purposely did that so that you couldn't, because it has to be believable. Why didn't you bring in reinforcements? You're part of the Avengers. Clearly, Tony Stark and others would come to Cap's aid, if you were in this situation. But from the time that Cap's on the wanted list till the time that helicarriers are crashing is only a matter of a couple days at most.
My question is though, even within a couple of days, why didn't anyone even reference the attempt to contact any other parties of the Avengers. That was the one last problem that I had with the movie, is that they didn't even, but they didn't address like why they couldn't.
Well, why could they though? I mean, they did in a way.
They didn't know who to trust. I mean,
Cap was laying low. They didn't know who to trust. Cap was hiding. He had to go to, he was like walking to, Falcon's house, to find some place to hide. Nick Fury can't contact the outside world, or Hydra will know he's alive. So I mean, like, how are they supposed to?
Maria Hill. She was able to infiltrate the Hydra prison truck, so I would think that she has the means with which to make a telephone call or send an email or a text message or any of the, or just do some kind of like little quick line saying like, I tried to get a hold of Iron Man or Tony Stark to see if he was, but whatever. But like, there was a reason, it just wasn't. It was left open ended for interpretation.
Shield didn't even know Hydra was infiltrated. I mean, until like till the helicarriers are taken, like right before they took off.
Right.
So I mean, like those people in Shield had no. They was going under orders, level 10 orders, saying, hey, Captain America's a fugitive. This is a threat.
Let's
I
actually
liked that they didn't tick off a laundry list of, here's where this guy is, here's where this guy is.
Well, sure, because that could have gotten
necessary.
Yeah.
I don't think it was needed. I think it was, it was a short enough time frame and enough of an emergency situation, and the need for secrecy and trust was explained well enough to the point where I don't feel like I feel like it was explained why other people weren't interfering.
Okay, let's take a step back, as we are all obviously avid comic book fans and well developed and rooted in our opinions, thus the arguing that goes on when we talk about something like this. Let's hear what Marky Mark's got to say about. You watched the movie. You are not as into comic books as us, so you would be considered the average comic book movie fan person.
You got it.
So what do you think of the movie?
I mean, I loved it. The first Captain America movie, it opened us up to him, to Steve Rogers, showed like how everything came about, which is awesome. Kind of trade him as a pussy a little bit.
Because he hasn't hit anything yet.
Exactly. And then the second one, I thought.
Okay, and we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties with some mics and some connection. Google was fucking us in the asshole. But anyway, we're back now, and let's jump back over to Marky Mark. Your thoughts on the movie. You were saying that Steve Rogers was a pussy in the first one, and you were getting to the second one.
Yeah, the first one, it kind of betrayed him, coming out of the chamber, all that stuff, they had him doing like, doing the spots, for war shit, whatever. I don't know, I don't really understand it. There you go. And then the second one, I think it just let him portray himself as more of the badass. The opening fight scene with the George St. Pierre character, I loved it. That was fucking awesome. I mean, as far as George St. Pierre being in the movie, I agree on both sides of it. Me being a non-comic book person, but yet liking movies, I enjoyed seeing him in that role. I think some people would, again, the layperson would enjoy seeing him in that role as, almost like a transition from his MMA roots into movies and acting and stuff like that. I mean, you see Randy Couture and did it in Expendables and shit like that too, which, has an all-star studded cast. With this, it's pretty much the same thing. And, the movie was fucking awesome. I loved it. I was actually just watching it again before jumping in on the call. So, yeah, loved it. Great movie. Wonderful. I'll probably watch it again tonight.
Yeah, I think we all agree that overall the movie is extremely watchable, has high replay value. Regardless of what I said, I was just nitpicking. There are a few things that I don't like, but the quality of the movie overall is very, very good. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's my favorite single character Marvel movie, but I would definitely say that it is right up there, in the top 2 or 3, without a doubt.
I love Captain America. I always have. He is awesome, and I really really like it. And the introduction of the Winter Soldier just made it that much more exciting for me when he throws the disc and it explodes Nick Fury's shit. I loved it.
When I watched it again last night, Fox shared his opinion about the Black Widow seeming a little too flirty and whatnot with me the other day, and so when I watched it again last night, I was actually looking for that stuff, like trying to see if I could see what he was talking about, and well, I see it a bit like she definitely does seem different in this than she did in the Avengers. Like her character is a little more. I don't know, happy-go-lucky, a little more carefree. So I did find that change. Well, she was always a little bit like that. I wouldn't say slutty, but very much using, her feminine wiles in her favor.
Right. I'll give you that.
Boobies.
Did that in the Avengers during the, during the whole interrogation scene when she was strapped to the chair. She was playing that angle a little bit too,
She kind of played that way in Iron Man also.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
So
Especially when he. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
felt that she was I liked what they did with that because I mentioned before, like, I felt like the movie had a theme about trust, and as you watch it, a lot of the scenes where you get a more personal interaction, the characters are talking about what it means to trust and whether you should trust people implicitly or whether trust has to be earned and whatnot. And I thought it was really interesting to see that these two characters have fought beside each other. Talk about the shared life experiences he mentions in the truck at the one point. It's like they definitely have shared some of that, and yet he's still not sure at the beginning whether he can trust her because like she's lying to him all the time about a lot of stuff, and she says it's the truth isn't all things to all people at every point, and that's not how he feels. And so like the way that she can just so carefree talk lightly about oh, you want to date so and so, and he's like, no, I've got shit to do, like he's about the responsibility and the fact that like you can't just treat relationships so haphazardly. Like a bond between two people is earned, and it actually means something. And in the end, that's what you have to rely on, is whether you actually made a real connection with someone.
I guess when
A side note on that is, Chris, you look like Captain America with Down syndrome. Put it out there. It's amazing. But, yeah, they should totally make a movie about that. Yeah.
My helm is not anywhere near as cool as Brian's.
No, it is not. Yours looks like a 5-year-old cup an old fucking towel and had his mom sew an A on it. But that's neither here nor there.
I'm a superhero.
Yeah, I can bring 2 friends.
America.
Okay, all right. I think we've talked about.
Well,
Captain.
Wait.
We should include the Shield tie-in to Captain America too.
We should
Okay.
also talk about the mid-credit scene.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay. Go, Brian. Go ahead, and then we'll move on to Pirate.
The mid-credit scene was our first tie-in to Avengers #2. We saw Baron von Strucker making his little speech about miracles, and then we finally get our first look at Scarlet Witch and Marvel Studios' Quicksilver.
All right.
Because we both know that Fox
They're gonna be in it.
has that 1970s DJ Quicksilver with the silver hair and the silver jacket and the calculators around his waist, and we haven't seen him run at all yet in any of the trailers or anything. But in the Marvel one, we see Scarlet Witch playing with the blocks, levitating the blocks, and then squishing it, and we see Quicksilver running around his jail cell freaking out. I think it looked pretty good. I think the way they done him looked pretty good. I think both the actor, I forgot his name, but he plays Kick-Ass and the Kick-Ass movies looked pretty good. I think how they used to show the little bit of him running around looked good, and then Scarlet Witch looked good too.
I saw somebody say somewhere that they had an interesting theory. They thought they were wondering if Whedon was going to play up the Simon and River Tam vibe between the two of them, because she had kind of like a
almost like a love interest, brother sister weird thing.
No, not a love interest, but like no, I mean from Firefly, like Simon and River Tam, you had Summer Glau as the the kind of spacey, and the protective, the overprotective older brother, and seeing that Joss Whedon's doing Avengers. Some people were thinking that it might seem kind of reminiscent of the relationship from Firefly.
Well, there was a set picture that I saw this week of Quicksilver holding Scarlet Witch, kind of like cradling her, like as if he was just running with her in his arms.
That's kind of cool.
And what were you talking about, Pirate, with the Shield, the Agents of Shield tie-in?
Oh yeah, was the following episode of Agents of Shield, how they had the Shield was infiltrated by Hydra, and they pretty much had it to where all the characters, they were kind of, who was it? What's the computer
Maria
girl's
Hill
name?
in the Agents of Shield series?
No.
Yet, but I think she's supposed to be next season. She couldn't commit because the actress Kobe Smulders was still in How I Met Your Mother, and until that show ended, she was still under contract and couldn't do
another network show,
recurring TV series on ABC.
We're also supposed to see Samuel L. Jackson in the
season finale.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. I liked it.
It was really cool the way they tied it in, and like sitting there watching Captain America, like all the little stuff that just like tied in so well. The way that they used Agent Sitwell, who had, and I went back and watched the first Avengers the other day, over the weekend. And it was interesting because he was actually in the first one. He was on the helicarrier on the bridge, and I didn't notice him. I didn't know who he was when we saw it the first time. But
really,
he had actually been in the first movie, and he was one of the people who was trying to. Who Maria Hill was yelling at to try and stop the nuke when they, when it was launched.
He wasn't the guy playing Galaga.
Oh, because he
was not.
They mention that he can disarm nukes in the CV series.
Really?
Yeah, and that's funny.
He was in one of how the DVDs come out with the mini episodes. Yeah, he did a couple of them with Agent Coulson.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting the way they tied that in. But yeah,
it was way better than the Thor 2 with just Dark Elves were here and that's it.
Just what everybody was expecting it to be,
right.
Where that you see the characters, they don't necessarily shove it in your face like, oh yeah, this is Fallout from the movie. Like with Thor, the tie-in was so small, and they're like, oh, Thor was here, and like you didn't really see anything. Like they had to tell you that they couldn't just show you, like you didn't get it from just watching it. They had to pound it into you that like, oh, this ties into Thor. This one,
this was going on simultaneously
because it was just so natural, and it was really good the way they did it.
Everything that was going on in that episode was going in junction with the movie. So like they're just finding out Hydra's infiltrated, so it's like as in the movie's going on. So it's like a side-by-side thing. They talk about how the helicarriers got they went rogue and all this, and I thought it was awesome, man. It was really the.
So how'd you feel about the character turns?
I did not expect it. At the end of it, I was like, "Holy shit!" I mean, I speculated it at one point because of how they talked about their closeness, and then I was like, "Nah, no way." And then he volunteered to go, and I was like, "Nah, still no way." And then he did it. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Do you think he's gonna stay?
I don't know.
Is it another double cross here, or?
I don't know. He might be under orders from Fury too. I don't know because.
But they killed Hand though. He straight up just shot Victoria Hand.
And she was a life model decoy.
Maybe
they haven't put up yet.
Also.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sitting there wondering, okay, how are they gonna, how are they gonna bring him back? Like, no, he's a bad guy. How does this play in? How does this write itself? I then saw they're doing a comic book tie-in to Legends of Shield, and the latest cover I saw shows Ward in front, looking kind of evil, and there's a really cool like Shield/Hydra logo. Like they did the
it was a mix.
Shield logo so that it actually looks like the Hydra is like scooping up the like in the background. It was really cool the way they did it using the negative space in the logo. But they show Coulson and his team and the one guy Triplet who was Bill Paxton's lieutenant or whatever on the show. Like they showed him in with the rest of Coulson's crew, and so I'm thinking now that maybe he joins and fills like the Ward, the Ward role, and then Ward stays a bad guy. Because honestly, his character, I feel like that would be a good move for it. He would be more interesting as a bad guy.
Yeah, he has no emotion.
What do you guys think about the Tahiti alien? Who do you think that is?
They announced it already. The actress who plays Sky said it. It's a Kree.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It makes sense. Which the next Age of Ultron, not Age of Ultron, Guardians of the Galaxy has Ronan, the Accuser, in it, and they visit the Kree homeworld, I think.
Yeah, and he's it was a blue-skinned creature whose blood restores people. I mean, that was basically how Ms. Marvel got her powers, or Carol Danvers, since she's not actually Ms. Marvel anymore.
Well, do you think that what's her name? Do you think that what's the chances of her getting powers then? Because they've already said she's on the.
I think she's already got them. I think there's some weird Sky. I think Sky's got. Yeah, because they mentioned her like the 087 or whatever they called her.
She was the protector of it.
She's basically some sort of, I'm guessing there's definitely something more to her, and I wouldn't be surprised if she has some sort of latent powers that they reveal at some point. But I mean, I have a feeling that's going to be like a long-term plot point.
You don't think it's like a possible Miss Marvel build-up, or
no? They're already saying that they want to use Miss Marvel in a movie. She wouldn't be it.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, I did not have much to chime in there because I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was way too slow, and I just didn't find it.
I'm not going to lie. The only reason why I got caught up, I watched the last 4 or 5 episodes on Hulu only after watching Captain America 2 because I knew there was a tie-in.
Yeah, I might watch those just because of that, because of what you guys just said. You might have sold me on it there. But as a whole, I do not like the series. Maybe next season. I don't know. We'll see.
It's gotten super interesting, and I think it'll be really... It was really campy, and they were very, I don't know, the sense of importance that they were trying to bestow on the show didn't fit with what they were actually doing.
Right. They relied too much on the movies in the first part of the season.
And now I feel like they're free to do their own thing now that S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore, and they. I feel like the show can finally have its own importance, and it's not just like the, like the webisodes that you go to watch like in between, the real stuff.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like, take Arrow for instance, because the first season of Arrow was not like there was no comic book really like attachment to it in my opinion.
But it stood on its own feet as entertaining.
It did, but you had to take it how it was written.
The first handful of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes just fucking sucked.
No.
I mean, they were.
The first one was awesome.
The first one was great.
Kind of like,
but after that, like,
it really dropped in quality.
And,
and since you were comparing it to the movies, it looked even worse by way of comparison. It was like nothing you're doing here is nearly as important or interesting as that's kind of the curse of the shared universe. It's like unless you're going big, then it's inconsequential.
Right. Okay, well, let's move on to the next section here and talk about news and what's going on in the comic world and everything that's around us. Let's start with let's throw a wrench in the game plan. Let's start with Marky Mark. Mark, you got any news for us that's current?
I know we talked about a little bit before we kind of got online there was the Ben Affleck supposed Batman suit.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. With the sweet
Kryptonite
sweet Nux.
Knuckles. Yeah, there's
Yes,
this picture that's floating around that is supposed to be a, what did I call it before?
Rumored concept.
Yeah, concept
yeah.
art. Yeah, concept art for the Batfleck outfit, and it's fairly similar to a Chris Nolan Batman outfit, but the knuckles are kryptonite.
Yeah, so he's probably gonna punch Superman right in the old cocksucker.
That's what I'm saying. And like, I'm going to throw this out right now because I know we've talked about this on another podcast. If that is the actual suit that we will see Batfleck wear in the new Batman Superman movie, fuck you, Brian. You're wrong. Batman Superman will definitely kick Cap 3's ass because everybody in the goddamn world will want to see Batman punch Superman in the face.
Well, you know they're gonna fight, and he's gonna have.
Yeah.
But the only thing
established.
how are they gonna introduce kryptonite?
I'm sorry. Hang on. You're gonna have to talk again, Pirate. Hang on. Let Brian talk.
I don't understand how they're gonna introduce kryptonite since his powers aren't the same as the comic book.
What I heard was that since they didn't address it in Man of Steel as his as Superman's weakness, that Batman or Bruce Wayne, one of the two, will be friends with
Lex.
Lex Luthor, and in turn, Batman, being the greatest known detective in the world, will somehow surmise that kryptonite is Superman's weakness, and then that leads to potentially this bat suit with the kryptonite brass knuckles. If you
Where's the kryptonite coming from, though? You saw no meteors come down.
He's motherfucking Bruce Wayne.
Well, I mean, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he
can-
does
he
in the
can
last
buy-
movie.
He can synthesize it.
Yeah,
He knows a guy. He knows a guy at Walmart that can get that for him on the low through China,
Early in
of
the
course.
last movie,
It's like
it showed that he has space. He has like satellites in his own. You know, Wayne Tech has satellites, so they have some type of space exploration program. So they have scientists. You know, I mean, there's plenty of possibilities that can say, okay, you know, this is a passing meteorite, or we got rocks that's landed, meteorites, or fallen stars, whatever. We got rocks on days, but you know what I mean? Like, there's so much that it showed with that satellite and space that it ties in that, you know, why not? You know, I mean,
it's Bruce Wayne, dude. He could buy whatever he can buy whatever he wants. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's there's no limitation
That's
to
what
what
I'm
he
saying.
can purchase. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it makes, to me, being ignorant of all things comic book, it makes sense to me that he could buy whatever he wants. I mean, you know, he could buy me.
Here's the thing. Here's a question. Here's a question.
Like, if you
I could buy you. You're fucking cheap.
You're absolutely right,
Lex
Chris.
Luthor and Bruce Wayne, the two probably most richest people in all of DC's universe, and you say they're even semi-friends and they're all for a greater purpose of something. I mean, imagine the funding you have behind that, and look at all the research that Lex Luthor puts in. And I know they're not going off with the Lionel Luthor, you know, storyline of like he's got his money from his dad. They're going for him like making his own money, self-made millionaire, billionaire, whatever. But if you take and you say, okay, you have Bruce Wayne, the assets of him and the money he's got, and then you take Lex Luthor and the assets he has and money he's got. Aliens have already invaded. They're already have shown to cause significant damage in Metropolis or on any major city.
They're going to be
in this
looking into
world.
that shit.
They're going to be looking into like, okay, how did aliens get here? What kind of alien
Where
research
they come
can our
from?
money get us? Right. They're going to find a way. Period.
Now is this going to be a young Lex, an old Lex, or a middle-aged
Younger
Lex?
Lex.
It's a younger
Younger
Lex.
Like
Jesse
Beast
Eisenberg is playing Lex.
Oh, that's right.
That's
That's
Okay,
right.
so here's a
Yeah.
here's a quick experiment towards our bet that I have going with Brian. That my bet is that, well, actually we'll get to that. First of all, let's talk to Marky Mark here as an innocent bystander. If you were presented with a release date where Batman Superman and Captain America 3 were both released on the exact same day. And you knew you wanted to go see a movie that day, and you knew it was one of those two, but you could only see one or the other that weekend. Which one would you see? Captain America
Cat 3.
You would see Captain America 3. Okay, all right.
Cat 3.
I yield. That backfired.
I mean, and only because of Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
Sex weapon.
All right. I get.
No, but seriously, I mean, it would be a hard choice. I would personally go see Cap 3 just because I enjoyed the first two Captain America movies. I'm not a humongous Batman fan. I mean, I like it.
Kick
I
him
like
off.
the
Boo
old,
him from the conversation now.
I liked old Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman before the horse incident.
That sounds worse than it was.
Too soon. I mean,
Not too soon. Yeah.
But now I feel so bad for laughing at it.
But I think what they should have did. I think what they should have did is whenever Christopher Reeves had his accident, they should have had him play Professor X.
Oh.
We're gonna cross genres here.
I think
Too soon.
honestly,
Too soon. Or he could have played Stephen Hawking in a movie. I mean,
that's what I just said.
Oh,
I think Cap would do really well against Superman Batman at the box office. And I know what you said about the approachability factor of Superman and Batman are kind of like the two biggest individual names in comics, so they're gonna get the the casual attender contingent. But I mean, look, Marvel has proven how good their movies are. They've got a track record for quality. You've got the Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., TV show that, like, everything that, if you stay current on that, like, I would want to watch Cap that weekend so that when I see Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like, I'm not behind, like, I feel like whatever Cap 3 is going to do is going to be more important for me to learn that story first, and I can catch Superman Batman some other time.
Yeah,
like I think it'll be good, and I'm going to want to see it, but I don't know. It's an unknown quantity. Like, I don't know how good it's going to be. So if I'm going to go see one first, I want to make sure I see the one that I think is good, that I know is going to be a good movie and has a bigger impact on more stuff.
See, and I'm of the same mind, but I think that Batman Superman will have a bigger impact on
what? On the DC comic universe?
Which is
on their
TV
show?
On the DC comic,
on the DC
cinematic universe, because there isn't one yet. Because
right.
this
and
will
that's
be the movie.
That's my point. My point.
But you're not. Listen to my point. My point is.
Yeah, here's the thing. There's no DC universe. There's DC movies. That's all there is.
Okay,
I mean,
so,
I would love to. I would like to see both of them. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to see Cap 3 because I think Marvel makes a better movie. I just think I like that character better than the melding of the other two characters together. My own personal opinion. I mean, again, I just wasn't a huge fan of all the Batman movies. The second one, what was that? Dark Knight, whatever, was awesome.
Rises.
No, the second one, was that the Dark Knight Rises? I don't know. The first one, Batman Begins. Batman Begins.
Dark Knight, yeah.
Batman Begins was good. The Dark Knight was awesome. I still haven't seen Part 3 yet. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, I liked it, but I think Cap is a better story. I like the story better. He's more personable to me, anyway. I mean, it's he's just a regular guy who became what he is, whereas Bruce Wayne is a billionaire who can buy his way into whatever he wants.
The whole thing about that, what you just said, is it's not that those three movie Batmans anymore. It's a whole different Batman. They're doing it differently.
Yeah. But the average person doesn't necessarily know that.
Exactly.
No, I think the average person knows that it's not going to be that same Batman anymore. I think nowadays, even if you're not a comic book fan, you find out stuff about these movies just like we do. because people, media's all over the place. I mean, TMZ will report stuff on it.
It's because they listen to the goddamn Comic Book Nerd Nation. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, the average person knows. I mean, not as much as we do, because we're fucking freaks about this shit. But the average person will find out enough information that they know it's not Christian Bale, it's not the same kind of Batman, and that's it.
Well, if I can speak from that perspective, I thought, I had no idea that Ben Affleck was playing a different Batman. I was like, whoa, why didn't Christian Bale just play that? Luckily I work with this group of fucking nerds, and they can let me know, what's going on, and whatnot. But I mean, I personally would have been, when I first heard it, I was like, why isn't Christian Bale playing that? Why, did he opt out of it?
Yeah.
And then they had to explain to me that, oh no, it's a completely different story, blah blah blah. Just like with Michael Keaton, I was like, why the fuck are they doing Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Val Kilmer? Why do they change it every single time? Which, I think the best Batman, Michael Keaton, was awesome.
Michael Keaton was pretty awesome.
Well, that's another factor to my point too. Everybody in their life has at least one nerd or a couple of nerd friends that they always go to. Oh, who's that supposed to be? Oh, who's that supposed to be?
Yeah, that's a good point.
A bunch of my friends come to me whenever that happens too. Like, oh, what happens in the comic book with this guy? Is it the same? Did that really happen in the comic books? What are they pulling from?
Right.
So nowadays, it's like playing telephone when you're a kid.
Yeah.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my nerd friends. They keep me in the loop.
I was going to say the point to take from this is if you're not a nerd, find your nerdiest friend and hold him close.
Or just subscribe. Or just subscribe to our podcast.
I do. I cuddle with these three nerds at work all the time. I love it.
Oh, group cuddle sessions all the time.
All right, real quick, we got time for one more bit of news, and I think actually we'll do two bits of news. The last two. First thing that I think that we need to cover is the potential Goonies movie that's coming out.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Pirate.
I'm all for it. I don't care. I'm all for it. The Goonies is one of my favorite childhood movies, non-really comic book related or anything like that. I hope Richard Donner is full forward to it. I hope that, think about it, that is something these kids, the movie to me is childhood adventure, at its finest. There's no way you could think of any other thing that you would want to do as a kid and go on a treasure hunt and literally find the treasure in a pirate ship. Corey Feldman needs to shut the fuck up and just jump on board with it and quit being a little bitch, because he ain't doing shit. Literally, Corey, if you're listening, you are not doing shit. Do Goonies too. Sean Austin's on it.
He's doing Lost Boys 7.
Yeah,
he's still doing Michael Jackson impersonations.
Right, exactly. He's got nothing. Lost Boys 2, I made it halfway through it and was like, no, fuck this. And he wasn't even in it, was he? Yeah, he was. No, he was in that. Yes.
I don't know. This is one that I don't particularly have an opinion on. I'm not I liked the Goonies and stuff. I'm not overly excited about Goonies 2. I mean, I'll probably see it when it comes out on DVD. I've watched it. Oh, dude, I've watched it a ton of times. Don't get me wrong. I love Goonies.
No, I know you have. I've made you watch it a few times.
But I mean, I've watched it a ton of times.
My thing is, even if this movie flops and is completely washed, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to like it probably. And you know what? If it flops, it flops. Fuck it. It didn't ruin anything.
It won't flop.
Because Goonies 1 is still amazing to me.
It won't flop just because of the title of Goonies 1. It'll get the cult following. It'll do well at the box office just based on the name.
You can't always go with cult following on follow-ups. I mean, there's been tons of it. Like Boondock Saints 2 was a horrible flop.
That is a really good point. Boondock Saints 2 was terrible.
What else? Lost Boys 2, what we just said, was a flop. I don't even think that made it to theaters. I think that ended up getting shot down in the theaters.
DVD. Yeah,
it went straight to DVD. So there's huge cult followings and usually it is the cult followings that flop.
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
No, I knew somebody was going to bring that up. That movie was, you know what? In defense, that movie honestly wasn't that bad until the ending.
One name, Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
He wasn't LaBeouf. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't really recall everything. But I vaguely remember enjoying most of the movie up until like the last like 20, 25 minutes of the movie, and it was just like.
See, but you know what? I agree with you. Like it totally.
Like maybe if I
changed,
ate a whole bag of mushrooms, this would be cool. But
Yeah.
Let me jump back on the Goonies thing real quick. I want to see a grown man do the truffle shuffle.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be awesome. I wonder if they still got
there
the
you
same.
go, right there. There you go. You just fulfilled that. Cross that off the bucket list. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go
There we
vomit.
go.
Now that all of our viewers are blind, I hope you guys can tune into us on Stitcher, since we are available on Stitcher Radio. Okay, so yeah, we're not going to talk about that anymore, just at the expense of having to see Pirate's pasty ass white chest again. Wow, that was terrible.
I love
He
it.
asked.
I love it.
I just provided.
The
John,
let's
you're my new
move
hero.
on to the last bit of news that we want to cover today, and that's honestly for the comic book art form, for the comic book community, it's getting close. Whether you're a fan of this particular series or not, we're getting very close to the end of an era. In that Archie is going to be dying in, was it June, July? I think July. Archie's going to be dying. All I know about it personally, and you guys might know more, let me know, is that he's going to be dying, and it's going to be in a heroic fashion. So
Drive-by shooting. Yeah.
Who's gonna save Barack Obama?
I don't think Barack Obama is going to be taking a part in Archie comics, but I mean, thoughts on? I mean, nobody here really reads Archie, do we? Anybody? Nobody? No,
And it's not even Archie. It's like Life with Archie now. He's like a grown man or something.
Yeah, and
It only took him 70 years to grow up.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I'm unsure whether this has the impact that we're placing on it, because I at one point they split off and they had two series, and there was like Life with Archie, which shows him like as a possible future kind of thing, like, you know, grown up and later on. And so when they that's the Archie that they're going to be killing off and then ending that series. But I think Archie Comics is still going to continue, and I think there's still a version of him that's going to stick around. So I don't know whether they're like completely, you know, axing the character.
No.
See, killing off these like iconic characters to me anymore is like, once they did it, like, I love Superman to death. He's one of my favorite fucking like DC superhero characters. But once the death of Superman came out and they did away with Superman, they're like, oh, it's the end of an era. And there's this huge art like USA Today and like New York Times and all these big like articles came out in the early '90s of like, you know, this is the death of comic books. You know, like Superman dies, like the one man who can't be killed, pretty much. He's dead, and then. It was like less than a year later, or a few months later, like he's back.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad they did, because, you know, he
Brought
continued to
back,
make
like, 7 of
amazing. Yeah, well, they brought back the 4, which ended up becoming characters, which Shaquille O'Neal actually played one of those characters in the movie Steel, which was a Friday fail if you follow us on Facebook. But, you know, to me, it's like, you know, you can't kill off a character and put all this big hype. And what the problem happens is when you put all that big hype into it, it re-interests readers or finds new readers, and then they're like, oh wait, we got a whole new market here. So next thing you know, Archie's going to come back with another comic like, oh, he was just on an iron lung for like 7 months and he came back and actually lived.
Yeah, it could be. It's really
Nobody ever stays dead in comic books.
There used to be, like, I remember in the 90s, there used to be an adage of, you know, like, only 2 people ever stayed dead in comics, Uncle Ben and Bucky Barnes, and then they bring Bucky back.
Right. Uncle Ben's coming back in More Than Rice. It's over.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben's hanging out with the Wayne family.
Oh, he went there.
Yeah,
all right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week of Comic Book Nerd Nation. I'm Fox2 signing out. We got Brian.
Boobies!
We got Topher.
Hail Hydra!
We got Pirate.
Son of a bitch.
Hail Hydra.
And we got our special guest, Mark Rose.
Thanks for having me, you bunch of fucking geeks.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.